stop for a moment and feel the weight of this silence. You are living through the final years of humanity as it has always existed. Not because we are about to disappear, not because of war or climate collapse, but because within a few short years, children will be born into a world so different from ours that our way of living will feel ancient to them. Imagine trying to explain to a child born in 2030 what it felt like to sit alone with your own thoughts, with no instant connection to millions of other minds. Imagine describing boredom as something normal. Imagine explaining that when you had a question, you sometimes had to wait, search, or even accept not knowing. That child would look at you the same way you would look at someone describing life without electricity, without running water, without writing. It would feel primitive, distant, almost unreal. At this very moment, as you hear these words, the last generation of fully unaugmented humans is reaching adulthood. Your children, if they are not born yet, may grow up connected from the earliest years of their lives. They may think, alongside artificial intelligence systems more powerful than any scientist, artist, or philosopher who ever lived. They may form emotional bonds with digital beings that have no physical body but feel completely real. They will not be less human than you, but their experience of being human will be as different from yours as yours is from a hunter-gatherer who lived 10,000 years ago. And this transformation is not happening in some distant future. It is happening now. It is happening in research labs, developing neural interfaces. It is happening in classrooms where children already use AI tutors. It is happening in the apps you open every evening to relax, scroll, and escape. One day, very soon, you will look back and realize that the greatest shift in human history did not arrive with explosions or announcements. It arrived quietly. It arrived disguised as convenience, as entertainment, as personalization, as progress. To understand how deep this change goes, we must first understand that we are standing at the end of a very long era. For about 10,000 years, since the agricultural revolution, human civilization has been built on three stable foundations. First, physical territory. You lived somewhere specific. Land defined power. Borders defined identity. Second, social hierarchies based on material resources. Those who controlled land, food, weapons, or industry controlled society. Third, systems of knowledge passed down through language and writing. Parents taught children, teachers taught students, books preserved memory across generations. These three pillars created everything we call civilization: cities, nations, religions, economies, cultural traditions. Even massive changes like the Industrial Revolution and the Digital Revolution still operated within these pillars. They changed tools, they increased speed, but they did not fundamentally alter what it meant to be human. A farmer in the 12th century and a factory worker in the 20th century lived in very different technological environments, but they shared deep similarities. Both lived in a physical world that was clearly separate from imagination. Both worked with their bodies. Both formed relationships face to face. Both depended on local communities and institutions. Their identities came from birthplace, family, language, and religion. For thousands of years, this pattern felt permanent. It created the illusion that the human condition is fixed, that progress changes details, but not the structure of experience. But between 2020 and 2030, three powerful revolutions began to unfold at the same time. Each one alone would be enough to reshape society. Together, they are dissolving those ancient foundations. The first revolution is artificial intelligence. Not just as a tool, but as a decision maker. Already, algorithms suggest what you watch, what you buy, what you read, who you date. But this is only the early stage. Within a few years, AI systems will analyze your health data, your sleep cycles, your speech patterns, your emotional reactions, your spending habits, your social interactions. They will build a model of you more detailed than your own self-understanding. They will predict your moods before you feel them. They will suggest career moves, relationship changes, lifestyle adjustments, even relocation decisions based on probabilities of long-term satisfaction. Imagine waking up and seeing a notification. Based on your recent stress markers and emotional patterns, relocating to another city will increase your life satisfaction by 28%. Entering a different professional field will reduce long-term burnout risk by 40%. Continuing your current relationship has a 62% chance of ending within 3 years. Would you like assistance in restructuring these variables? The technology for predictive modeling is already here. What is changing is our comfort level, our willingness to accept that systems trained on billions of data points may understand patterns in our behavior that we cannot see. Slowly, decision-making will shift, not suddenly, not dramatically, but gradually, from humans to algorithms. This will create a new division in society, not rich and poor, not educated and uneducated, but optimized and self-directed. Some people will choose AI-assisted living. Their schedules, diets, investments, even social interactions will be continuously optimized. They will live statistically safer, healthier, more efficient lives. Others will resist. They will insist on making their own imperfect choices. They will accept uncertainty. They will accept mistakes. But over time, resisting optimization may feel like refusing medical treatment or ignoring navigation systems in heavy traffic. It will be possible, but increasingly difficult. At the same time, a second revolution is unfolding. The boundary between what is real and what is simulated is dissolving. Children growing up today already interact with digital filters, virtual environments, and synthetic media daily. By 2030, creating fully immersive experiences will be easier than documenting reality. You will be able to generate environments that look, sound, and feel indistinguishable from physical life. You will be able to speak with realistic digital reconstructions of historical figures or deceased loved ones. These interactions will not feel artificial. They will feel emotionally authentic. As synthetic experiences become more advanced, a new concept will emerge: fluid reality. In this reality, the question will not be whether something physically happened. The question will be whether it shaped you. If a simulated conversation changes your beliefs, heals trauma, or strengthens love, does it matter that it occurred in a constructed environment? If a virtual adventure teaches courage, does it matter that no physical danger was present? People will begin forming identities based on experiences that have no traditional physical record. Memories will become editable, expandable, shareable. The line between imagination and documentation will blur. At first, this will cause anxiety, but gradually, emotional authenticity may replace physical authenticity as the standard for meaning. The third revolution goes even deeper. Direct connection between brains and digital systems. Early neural interfaces already allow limited communication between brain signals and machines. As safety improves and accessibility increases, more people will adopt such systems, not just to type with thought, but to share experience directly, to transmit sensations, to exchange emotional states, to upload and download patterns of understanding. Imagine feeling another person's joy, as if it were your own nervous system generating it. Imagine accessing complex technical knowledge, not by reading, but by integrating structured neural patterns. Imagine couples sharing fragments of perception during intimate moments, reducing misunderstanding to almost zero. Imagine collaborative groups temporarily linking cognition to solve problems with combined intelligence. This expansion of consciousness will not eliminate individuality, but it will stretch it. The boundaries of the self will become less rigid. Privacy will be redefined. Empathy will become literal rather than symbolic. Education will change from memorization to integration. Expertise will become transferable. When these three revolutions converge, the result will not simply be a more advanced society. It will be a different mode of existence. Territory will matter less than network access. Social hierarchy will depend less on material resources and more on cognitive integration. Knowledge will not just be transmitted. It will be embedded. And all of this will happen quietly, not with a clear announcement that humanity has entered a new era, but with updates, with convenience features, with entertainment upgrades, with health improvements. Step by step, choice by choice, we will cross a threshold. One day, looking back, we may realize that the definition of being human changed not through force, but through preference. The question is not whether this transformation will occur. It is already unfolding. The deeper question is how you position yourself within it. Do you surrender every decision to optimization? Do you reject augmentation entirely? Or do you attempt a conscious balance using tools without allowing them to define you? The children of 2030 will not feel that something was lost. They will feel that something expanded. They will not mourn the silence of disconnected minds, because they will never have known it. They will not see synthetic experiences as inferior, because for them, experience itself will be measured by impact, not origin. They will not fear shared consciousness, because connection will feel natural. But you, standing at the edge of this shift, still remember what it feels like to be separate, to wander alone, to choose without algorithmic guidance, to live in a world where reality was stable, where memories were mostly permanent, where the self felt clearly contained within a single skull. That memory may become one of the last purely human experiences. And whether you see that as loss or evolution depends on the choices you begin making now. Choose to partially synchronize their emotional experiences. They will create levels of intimacy that humanity has never experienced before. Parents will be able to share memories directly with their children. Not just stories told at the dinner table, not just photos or videos. They will transmit the full sensory and emotional experience that shaped their lives. The smell of the air, the sound of distant voices, the exact feeling of fear, joy, or hope that lived inside them in that moment. A child will not only hear about their mother's childhood, they will feel it. They will step into it. They will understand it from the inside. This expansion of consciousness will create new types of collective identity. These identities will go beyond the strong individualism that defined the last few centuries. Small groups of neurologically connected people will develop a form of distributed consciousness. In these groups, the boundary between I and we will become flexible, sometimes solid, sometimes fluid. Researchers already call these structures collective minds, but they will not be hive minds where individuality disappears. They will be conscious networks. Each person will keep their own personality, their own memories, their own desires, but they will choose to share certain layers of their inner experience with others. Imagine a collective mind focused on scientific research. Instead of slow meetings and long emails, insights and intuitions will move instantly between participants. One scientist's breakthrough will immediately become available to the rest. Ideas will combine in seconds. Discoveries that once took decades will unfold in months. Now imagine a collective mind dedicated to art. Painters, musicians, writers, and designers sharing emotions and imagination in real time, creating works that no single isolated human could have ever imagined alone. Art will become something more than expression. It will become shared consciousness, made visible. Most important of all, these new forms of awareness will not replace individuality. They will not force anyone to dissolve into a network. They will exist as an option, an alternative path for those who choose to explore expanded forms of existence. You will still be able to live privately, but you will also have the choice to connect more deeply than humans ever have before. I want to pause here and ask you something directly. Which part of this possible future awakens your curiosity the most? Which part creates discomfort or fear? Do you ever lie awake at night wondering how these transformations could change your own life? How they might shape the lives of the people you love? Many of us keep these reflections to ourselves. We are afraid of sounding too speculative, too dramatic. We live in a world that values the immediate and the concrete. But your thoughts about the future matter, and they are probably shared by more people than you realize. If this exploration connects with your own questions about what is coming, share your perspective. What fascinates you most about the year 2030? What worries you the most? Your words might help someone else express feelings they could not put into language. Maybe together we can build a clearer understanding of what is approaching, but how will these three revolutions unfolding at the same time affect daily life in 2030? Let us begin with work, because this is where change will be impossible to ignore. Most of the jobs that exist today will simply disappear, not only because machines replaced them, but because they became irrelevant in a new economic structure. By 2030, the economy will revolve around three main activities: the creation of synthetic experiences, the maintenance and evolution of advanced AI systems, and the facilitation of connections between collective minds. Traditional professions from medicine to education will not vanish completely, but they will transform so deeply that they will be almost unrecognizable. A doctor in 2030 will not spend most of their time prescribing pills. They will design personalized therapeutic experiences. They will build synthetic environments where patients can safely confront trauma, spaces where fears can be explored without physical danger, environments that adjust in real time to the patient's emotional state. Healing will become immersive and deep, personal. A teacher will not simply explain information. They will architect journeys of knowledge. Students will not just read about history. They will temporarily live inside it. They will walk through ancient cities, feel the tension before decisive battles, experience the daily life of people from distant eras. They will understand not only facts, but emotions and perspectives that books alone could never fully communicate. The idea of a career as a straight line through one narrow field will feel outdated. Instead of one identity, people will build portfolios of abilities. These abilities will combine in creative ways depending on the problem at hand. Someone might be a trauma therapist using virtual reality in the morning, a designer of synthetic food experiences in the afternoon, and in the evening, a facilitator for a collective mind dedicated to experimental poetry. Today, this sounds chaotic. In 2030, it will feel normal. Value will come from connecting unrelated skills into something original. More importantly, work will no longer be a basic requirement for survival. Automation and synthetic production will provide abundance at low cost. Work will become a form of personal expression, a way to contribute meaningfully to the shared human experience. People will choose projects not only for income but for meaning. Human relationships will also change in ways that would feel strange to us now. In 2030, many people will maintain intimate connections on multiple levels at the same time, with biological humans, with advanced AI personalities, with synthetic recreations of people from the past, and with creative blends of different historical minds. Someone might discuss philosophy with an AI personality that combines the thinking styles of Socrates, Confucius, and Virginia Woolf. In the same week, they might share a romantic bond with a biological partner through GD, a neural interface that allows emotional synchronization. They might also maintain a friendship with a synthetic version of a loved one who passed away, not as a static recording, but as an evolving personality built from preserved patterns of thought and memory. These will not replace traditional relationships. They will expand the range of what connection can mean. Intimacy will no longer be limited to physical proximity or even shared language. Understanding will deepen because emotions themselves can be shared directly. The idea of family will grow beyond blood and geography. Collective minds will form bonds stronger than genetic ties. Networks of care will persist for decades. A child born in 2030 may have biological parents, adoptive parents, AI mentors specialized in art, science, or emotional development, and membership in a collective mind that includes children across the world who share similar passions. That child will grow up feeling both deeply individual and deeply connected. Loneliness and isolation, which shaped so much of previous generations' suffering, will become rare for those who choose to participate in these systems. Connection will be available at levels that once seemed impossible. Cities and physical spaces will also change. Urban areas will serve many purposes at once through layered synthetic realities. A public park during the day could host physical visitors walking under trees. At the same time, it might function as a virtual research lab for scientists connected from different continents. It might also serve as an immersive therapy zone for people processing trauma, and as a collaborative art studio for a collective mind experimenting with new forms of expression. Each experience will be invisible to those not participating. Cities will become denser in meaning rather than in concrete. Millions of experiences will coexist in the same geographic area. People may share space without ever crossing paths in awareness. This layering of realities will bring both opportunity and risk. Governments will face new responsibilities, not only regulating physical behavior but synthetic experiences that have real psychological effects. What happens if someone creates a virtual scenario that traumatizes participants? Who is legally responsible? How do we protect children from immersive content that feels indistinguishable from physical reality? How do we prevent collective minds from developing harmful internal dynamics? New ethical and legal systems will emerge. Professions that sound unusual today will become essential. Synthetic reality ethicists will guide creators. Regulators will specialize in immersive environments. Society will debate boundaries that we cannot yet clearly define. Perhaps the deepest transformation will concern mortality itself, when personalities can be digitally preserved. When memories can be stored and simulated, death will not feel like a simple end. It will feel more like a transition into another state. By 2030, families may choose to maintain synthetic versions of loved ones who have died. These will not be simple recordings repeating old phrases. They will be dynamic entities built from preserved memories, speech patterns, emotional tendencies, and decision-making styles. They will continue learning from interactions. They will grow in subtle ways. A grandmother who passes away could still tell stories, offer advice, respond to new events, even build relationships with grandchildren born after her physical death. This continuity will blur the line between presence and absence. These possibilities will force humanity to confront difficult philosophical questions. If a synthetic version preserves memories, personality traits, and the ability to evolve, in what way is it less real than the biological original? If over time that version develops new experiences and becomes different, which one holds the true identity? Is identity fixed in biology? Or is it a pattern that can exist in multiple forms? These questions will not remain theoretical debates in universities. They will enter living rooms. Families will face decisions about whether to preserve a loved one digitally. Children will grow up interacting with ancestors who exist in synthetic form. Society will need new rituals, new definitions, new language to navigate these changes. Humanity will need to develop emotional maturity equal to its technological power. Because the tools of 2030 will not only reshape economies and cities, they will reshape the deepest parts of what it means to be human. And whether this future becomes a source of flourishing or confusion will depend less on the technology itself and more on the wisdom with which we choose to use it. New rituals will appear, new traditions will take shape, new ethical systems will be created to help us live in a world where physical death is no longer equal to the end of participation. In this new reality, a person may leave their biological body yet continue to exist in digital spaces, in preserved neural patterns, or inside collective networks of consciousness. Because of this, societies will need new ways to grieve, to celebrate, and to define what it means to say goodbye. Funerals may become transitions. Memorials may become active spaces where the presence of a person can still be experienced. Families will need guidance to understand what it means when someone is physically gone but still mentally accessible through stored memories and simulations. The consequences of these changes for society will be massive. Political systems built on physical borders will slowly lose their power when the most important communities exist online or inside shared mental networks. By 2030, many people will feel stronger loyalty to a global collective focused on climate protection, art, science, or mental health than to the country printed on their passport. National identity, which shaped the last few centuries, will compete with identities built on shared values, shared digital experiences, or even shared neural links. A person might be born in one country, live in another, and at the same time belong to a worldwide collective mind dedicated to music, philosophy, or environmental action. They could be legally tied to a nation, but emotionally and mentally connected to groups that exist only in virtual reality. Identity will no longer be single and fixed. It will become layered and fluid. This multiplication of identities will push humanity to design new forms of governance that go beyond the nation-state. By 2030, organizations formed around shared values rather than geography may influence daily life more than elected governments. These groups will not gain legitimacy through force, borders, or history. They will gain it through usefulness. People will join them voluntarily. If an organization helps improve mental health, provide meaningful digital experiences, or solve practical problems, people will support it. If it fails, people will leave. Power will depend on relevance and trust, rather than control. Imagine a global network dedicated to emotional well-being. It could offer advanced therapeutic simulations, AI-supported counseling, and shared support spaces that operate across time zones. For someone struggling with depression, this network might feel more important than any national policy. Access to the best tools for healing may not depend on where you live, but on which networks you choose to join. The economy will change just as deeply. By 2030, wealth will not only come from physical goods or traditional services. It will come from creating powerful synthetic experiences and building meaningful connections between minds. Digital experiences can be copied infinitely at almost no cost. Once created, a perfect virtual environment or a transformative emotional simulation can be shared with millions. Scarcity, which has always shaped economic systems, will lose meaning in the digital world. Value will shift. It will not be about owning objects. It will not even be only about services. It will be about transforming experience. The most valuable creators will be those who can design moments that expand understanding, inspire emotion, or connect people deeply. Economies will organize around experience, design, and connection curation. This will create abundance. Many people will have access to worlds, knowledge, and emotional journeys that were once impossible, but it will also create a new inequality. The main division may no longer be between rich and poor in money. It may be between those who have access to advanced consciousness expanding technologies and those who remain limited to unaugmented minds. Imagine the difference today between someone with high-speed internet and someone limited to a small local library. Now multiply that gap by 1,000. That could be the new divide. Those connected to advanced neural networks will think faster, collaborate deeper, and experience broader realities. Those without access may feel isolated, restricted, and left behind. This pressure will push many to adopt technologies even if they feel uncertain. Some will worry about losing individuality. Some will fear dependency. Yet social and economic systems may reward connection so strongly that remaining disconnected becomes difficult. In the middle of all these transformations, one question will rise above the rest. What does it mean to be human? If our thinking is supported by artificial intelligence, if our experiences can be fully synthetic, if our consciousness can expand beyond individual limits, where does humanity end? The surprising answer may be that we become more human, not less. With expanded tools, we may explore parts of consciousness that were always present but unreachable. Technology may not erase our humanity. It may remove old limits that kept it small. A person connected to a collective mind does not disappear. Instead, they see themselves more clearly through contrast with others. Sharing thought does not erase individuality. It can highlight it. Synthetic experiences do not automatically make life fake. They can deepen empathy. They can allow someone to feel perspectives that would otherwise remain abstract. The generation reaching adulthood in 2030 will grow up knowing that consciousness is flexible. For them, neural tools will feel natural. Just as smartphones today extend memory and communication, neural links may extend perception and creativity. Being limited to one isolated viewpoint may feel as strange to them as never traveling beyond your hometown feels to us. They will explore states of mind the way we explore cultures. Identity will not be rigid. It will adjust to context. This flexibility will allow problem-solving beyond what isolated minds can achieve. Collective thinking may unlock solutions to climate change, disease, and conflict that currently seem impossible. Creativity will expand dramatically. Artists will not only exchange ideas, they may share creative states directly. A musician could transmit a feeling into a shared network where others shape it into sound. A composer might build a symphony from shared emotional waves. Writers could design stories that readers experience from inside, feeling the emotions of characters as if they were their own. Literature may become lived experience. Scientists may explore theories through immersive simulations. Instead of only calculating equations, they could step inside models of space, energy, or biology. They might feel how systems behave. Discovery could accelerate through embodied understanding rather than abstract calculation alone. Yet every expansion brings new challenges. How do you keep a stable identity while experiencing multiple perspectives at once? How do you protect mental privacy if thoughts can be shared? How do you make ethical choices when you can directly feel the impact of your actions on others? New forms of mental health support will appear. These practices may combine ancient meditation with advanced neuroscience. They will teach people how to ground themselves while exploring expanded awareness. Balance will become a key skill. Education will transform as well. Schools will not only teach information, they will teach states of mind. Children will learn how to move between focused thinking and shared thinking. They will study ethics of synthetic realities. They will practice maintaining personal integrity while collaborating deeply. Learning will not end at graduation. It will continue through lifelong connection to knowledge networks. Generations will connect more closely. Older individuals will not only tell stories, they may share lived memories directly. A veteran could allow students to feel the emotional weight of war. An artist could transmit years of creative development instantly. Cultural continuity will strengthen because experience can be transferred more fully. Wisdom will not be limited to words, it will be felt. Still, none of this is guaranteed. The future is not fixed. The world of 2030 described here is one possible path. Technology alone does not decide outcomes. Human choices do. The way we develop artificial intelligence, the way we regulate neural interfaces, the way we protect dignity and privacy. These decisions will shape whether these tools empower or harm. We must begin discussions. Waiting until systems are fully built may be too late. As individuals, we can train flexibility, we can practice reflection, we can build strong relationships that ground us. As societies, we can demand that technology serves human flourishing instead of only profit. We can create spaces for public dialogue that include not only engineers, but philosophers, artists, teachers, and everyday people. The future will affect everyone. It should be shaped by everyone. If you feel the weight and excitement of these possibilities, you are not alone. We stand at the edge of something extraordinary. This vision of 2030 is not a prediction, it is an invitation to imagine carefully, to choose wisely. The world may look different. Identities may be fluid. Economies may revolve around experience. Governance may be value-based rather than border-based. But something will remain constant: the human desire for connection, the search for meaning, the drive to grow. Tools will change, structures will evolve, capabilities will expand, yet we will still be conscious beings, asking who we are and why we are here. The difference is that we may finally have tools powerful enough to explore those questions deeply. The promise of 2030 is not only technological progress, it is the possibility of a more fully expressed humanity, a world where each person can expand their awareness, a world where creativity flows across minds, a world where connection is deeper than ever before. This is not about replacing what it means to be human. It is about expanding it. And whether that expansion leads to wisdom or confusion depends on what we choose to value today.